Welcome back to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. This is the place where we ignite your passion, turbocharge your success, transform your thinking. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya, and today it's my absolute pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to this podcast interview. Today's guest has been on her own health journey since childhood, facing extreme eczema, eating disorders, gut health, and immunity issues. But she had a passion for exercising and the outdoors. She learned about physical health, became a group fitness instructor at the age of 17. She studied physio and massage therapy, became a PT, and learned about nutrition, naturopathy to become the expert in physical health, helping herself and others as well. What she didn't know was that emotional and mental health is closely connected to our physical health. And she had to learn by falling right on her face, falling right on her face, and dealing with the trauma and suicidal issues. And that's how she became a life coach, connecting the puzzle pieces and being able to help her clients in a much more effective and sustainable way. Today's guest is Verena Gutsche, and we'll be discussing from unrealistic diet mentality to sustainable life and becoming a healthiest version of yourself. Welcome, Verena. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. How are you?
Good. Hello, Anthony. Thank you so much for this lovely introduction. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, so you talked already quite a bit about my background. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So tell me about your personal journey and your insights. So can you share a little bit about your personal health journey, including the challenges that you faced with eczema and eating disorders and the gut health, and how those experiences shaped your approach to fitness and weight loss or well-being?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So as you said, I dealt with eczema, and that actually started in my early childhood. It kind of felt like I've been on a restrictive diet all my life. So when I was little, I had to cut out already sugar, artificial colors and sweeteners, or all that treat food. So that felt quite tough for me to have to say no to those kind of things while others could eat it. And as a teenager, as many other girls, I went on the path of dieting and then on binges, and I tried to out exercise those binges. And then later I'd say in my early adulthood, all of a sudden I struggled more and more with immunity issues and was constantly sick. So I think that might have been a consequence of my eating disorders in my teenager years. But the problem with that also was that it would stop me from being consistent at work and also inconsistent in terms of training. So I remember in 2013, I was so sick going from one cold of flu to another that I couldn't train for 6 months nonstop. The thing was, it felt like for 30 years, doctors and even some naturopaths would only treat symptoms. So they would give me steroid creams. They would give me vitamin pills and injections my body literally couldn't absorb. I would get, it really felt like I was wasting a lot of money and time at doctors, just scratching on the surface and not really getting to the root causes of all of those issues. And it was painful, it was really painful. And that pain actually led me to search for more answers and to learn more about health. And back then it was mainly physical health and nutrition. And I became really passionate about health. So that's how I started. And maybe just to give you a little bit more, or give the people listening to this a bit more insight, I'd say I had 3 major turns in life. And the first one was when I became a group fitness instructor at the age of 70. And I had to come out of my shell and step up. And I actually had to stop starving myself to be able to perform in front of people. So that was a huge step for me. And what happened here, quite interesting to observe, is that I basically swapped the food issues and like eating food, binging, as well as starving for exercise. So I basically swapped one compulsion for another. So that was obviously the exercise was a lot better. It led me on a healthier path, but later on I realized that I had to do some more work here. So that was the first turn. Now, the second turn came when I came to New Zealand about 10 years ago. And I finally found a naturopath specialized in gut health who actually went to the root causes of my issues. And she diagnosed me with worst case leaky gut and 39 sensitivities and intolerances. So it was like, oh my God. At the same time, it was a relief because, you know, when you keep searching for so long, you think like, what's wrong with me? You know, nobody is kind of telling me what's going on here and what I can do. So that was really good, even though it was a bit of a shock. So I started to go on, again, elimination diet. So again, another diet. And then a workmate of mine, she recommended me to a nutritional detox system. And I still use that system until today. I love it because it actually allowed me to reverse most of my sensitivities. And it also helped me in a physical way with sustainable weight loss because it's focused on detox and our toxins are stored in our body fat. So there's a connection to it. So that was the second turn. And then lastly, the third one was how I find life coaching. And you shared already a little bit about that. So I had to hit rock bottom to be able to wake up. And I was mentally, emotionally really, really unwell. And I had to uncover the root causes of my own self-sabotage and overcome them to be able to help others as well. And how that played out in personal training, for example, was that people came to me for personal training and they were completely dependent on me for motivation. But then they still struggled with what landed on their plate after training. They still struggled to be consistent. And obviously, quite important maybe to know is we can only help other people with things we've solved for ourselves.
Yes, of course.
And that's how I learned to help them a lot better. And that brought all those little puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how we when the journeys that we go through in our lives, we have to hit that rock bottom place to gain all that experience and understanding and then be able to help others. And sometimes we just got to dive, just got to keep pushing through that discomfort, right? So emotionally, what was it like emotionally for you, like through this whole journey from the age of 17?
Yeah, so emotionally it was quite tough because it felt like I wasn't okay the way I was. So I struggled with my self-esteem. And I'm still a very emotional person. I'm quite sensitive. And when you get told, constantly get told, oh, don't be so sensitive, or this is not true for you, or, you know, and then also being told, you know, you need to eat more to be stronger and to grow. I'm really short, like I'm 157. So, and, you know, family and friends that constantly tried to stuff me with food thinking I would grow, which didn't happen. And that was part of how I developed those eating disorders. And so it felt like I wasn't okay the way I was. And until I realized there's nothing wrong with me, I'm totally fine. And I learned to have more self-compassion to myself, and I love to pass it on. It's a beautiful journey.
That's good. Yeah, it's amazing how our lives are shaped by what people tell us about, you know, about ourselves, and then we end up believing those things, and you know, we give it meaning, don't we? We say, well, yeah, they've said that, so it must be true. But then we discover that it's actually not true, and all we've done is just given something that has no meaning.
Exactly.
And so,
actually, just another story. I work with epigenetic health types.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting.
What is that?
Yeah, so every person is different. So we have our genetics. This is the genetic part. And then there's the epi part, which stands for lifestyle. And
Right.
there are six different ones. And we can also be a bit of a mixed type. And so that actually gives you insight about how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what's important for your type, what exercises are good, what kind of nutrition is good, and so on. Now, really interesting, because people even at the gym would make fun of me saying, oh, you and your picnic food, because I can't eat massive meals throughout the day, it will drain me. And when I learned about my own health type, it was like, well, there we go. This is exactly how I should actually get through the day and how I should eat. So it was like a confirmation. And when I coach people on this health type system, I had people tearing up saying, oh my God, I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I was the complete outsider here and I'm weird and I'm not normal. And this actually gave me the confirmation I'm okay that way I am. Yeah, so really powerful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So like with your mental health, so we talked about your physical side of things, but we talked about the emotional health, but what about your mental health? How did that suffer through those or how did that shape through those years?
Yes, I think I went through a lot of rejection in my childhood, which probably wasn't on purpose, but it's just something that happened. And I realized later on. So I did have this narrative in my mind, maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I don't fit in, I'm different. And maybe I'm too sensitive. And it actually led to a lot of self-judgment. And that's something I work with people as well, is how we self-sabotage. So something happens potentially in our childhood, and we create a meaning out of this, that maybe I'm not enough, maybe I'm not worthy or not loved, and maybe I need to be different. And obviously that is shaping our behaviors. And for me personally, I became the people pleaser and a perfectionist. So yes, and I believe many people are sitting in the same boat. And over the last years, I worked on that. And being a people pleaser, for example, leads to a lot of issues in terms of health, well-being, and even weight loss goals. So
absolutely, been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
okay, good.
Yeah. So for a long time, fitness and wellness, I guess, have been two separate things, right? And so how do you integrate wellness and fitness together?
That is a great question. Yes. So it's all connected. So emotional, physical health, as well as mental health, is all connected. And there are a few different, how do I explain that? Maybe let's start that way. So first of all, it's really important to know that our thoughts, our mind, is the creator of our emotions. And that is creating our physiology. And what I mean by that is our posture, how we hold ourselves, our muscle tension. So that is based on our emotions. Also, our emotions are the creator of our decision making. So knowing that is really powerful, meaning that our thoughts and our emotions are creating our actions or non-actions, and with that, our outcome. So that's the first thing. So what I try to teach my clients is to truly, stepping back and observe your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because we are meaning-making machines, and the stories we tell ourselves are creating our feelings and outcomes. So why not going ahead and creating thoughts that are supporting us? I truly believe that our thoughts, our brain, it can be either our biggest enemy or our biggest supporter. So why not making it work for us? We have a choice here.
Yeah.
And just to explain that with an example. So what I'm hearing quite often is, I didn't come for training, I feel tired. Okay, so a person doesn't go for training because they feel tired. Instead of that, they think they need to eat for energy. because that's basically what we've been told in our childhood. You know, you have to eat for energy. So that is one way we can make something mean. And obviously that leads to non-action in terms of our health goals. I could also think about that in a different way. I could also go ahead and say, I feel tired, therefore I will train to wake up and have more energy. And everyone who has done some training has surely experienced that. Your body gets flooded with oxygen and you feel much more energized while you're doing it and after. So that is something I'm hearing a lot. Or
Absolutely.
when someone, yes, exactly. Have you also experienced that?
Yeah, so I mean, like I get up every morning and do, like this morning, just before this, I did a 7K walk. I walked down to the beach and back, did a couple of loops. And that's become my routine, because when you move your body, you create more energy. You don't have to eat to create more energy.
100%.
You just have to move your body. And when you move your body, and that creates a healthy mind. And so then, you know, it's all connected, right? It's all
Love it.
and so if you're lying in bed and you're going, well, I don't feel like going for a walk today because you know, I'm tired. Well, chances are once you get out the door, you're actually going to enjoy it, because you're going to have the sea breeze. You're going to, you know, I listen to my routine is every morning I listen to Rob Dial, who's a mindset mentor, and I get my dose of mindset in the morning as I'm walking up and down the beach. And by the time I get home, I'm set up for the day. My mindset's in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do the same.
Yeah, that's right. And being idle, that, you know, you're just depleting your energy, because you're just letting it go. You know, you're not actually because it's like a car, like an alternator in a car. You know, when you drive your car, it recharges your battery. You know, so it's kind of like if you exercise and you're recharging your internal battery, so that you get more energy.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, another example actually I want to share, because I think it can be useful for people listening, is how the thoughts, emotion, action process, how that cycle works is when someone let's say tells me, oh, yesterday for lunch I had a pie because I didn't have time to make my breakfast, then it's, just to be clear, it's actually not the reasoning why I didn't have time in the morning. You know, we're all always trying to rationalize with logic, but the decision making was purely emotional. So maybe that person felt a bit hungry, maybe that person smelled the pie, maybe that person had saw the pie, the visual cue came in, and based on that they made the decision. Obviously that person could have gone and, you know, bought a carrot or bought some salad you know, because of feeling hungry. So just know that all of our decision making is purely emotional, and we're trying to explain it afterwards with logic.
Absolutely. I mean, that happened to me last week. I went to an appointment in the morning, and as I was driving back home, there's a bakery, and I went, I'm going to stop in and get a pie and a donut. And I did.
Yeah, happens to all of us. That is okay. It's all about, you know, balance, I believe. And in most cases at least, balance is good. Yeah. Just one more, can I share one more thing up, because I believe it's really important to know as well for people listening. Now, another, obviously I can talk for days about this topic, but another thing that's really important to know is that emotional pain is stored in the body, in the physical body. Okay, so this is how physical, emotional, mental health is connected. So if we don't learn to process our emotions in a healthy way, and, you know, in today's society, there's a lot about suck it up and, you know, whatever, you know, they are those things that don't even allow us to truly process them and acknowledge and accept them and release them in a healthy way. So if we don't learn to do this emotional processing, then our body at some point will grab our attention in terms of pain or disease. And I absolutely admire Dr. Gabor Mate. So he actually goes ahead and says that number one reason of all chronic illness, including cancer, is emotional trauma. So that is huge. And I've experienced that myself. So I dealt with a lot of grief a few years ago. And it is actually manifested with pain around your eyes, like a ring, as well as with pain on the side of your hip. And so my therapy was to get regular massages, because massages are helping to release emotions. And then obviously professional coaching support. And then a few other things like journaling, talking to a friend. So really important to understand that pain is not always physical. It is your body asking you for attention. And there can be physical reasons behind it as well as emotional reasons. So it's really important to learn to work with the body, not against it.
Yeah. Early this year, I went through the core of my trauma from my childhood, which almost kind of paralyzed me for 3 weeks. But I had to sit through that discomfort and really work through those emotions and
Yes.
the abandonment, the rejection, all that stuff,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and when you do that, you come out the other end of the washing machine, a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, that is so
Yeah.
true. And it's truly having the ability to sit with that discomfort and actually facing our stuff rather than avoiding it and running away.
Yeah, the way I think about it is become comfortable with your discomfort. Right? So getting out of your comfort zone, actually become comfortable with your discomfort, where that discomfort no longer is a discomfort.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I see that similar to getting out of your comfort zone. So at the beginning, it's uncomfortable to step out of that out of that comfort zone. But what we do with that is we're actually expanding our comfort zone in the end. At some point, it's not uncomfortable anymore.
Cool. So tell me more about, so obviously this is this podcast is around mindset, and I'm really interested to hear from you around the role of mindset in dieting and fitness. Why do you think mindset plays such a crucial role in the success of any diet or any fitness program that we go through?
Yeah, this is huge. So first of all, start with deleting the word diet.
Okay.
So shifting the mindset from diet mentality to healthy, sustainable lifestyle.
Right.
Because we want to feel energized, being slim and fit all the time, not just for a couple of weeks or, a month or so. And also at the same time, we want to enjoy life. So it has to be a lifestyle. And the second point is just what I said beforehand. Our mind is the driver of our all of our action and non-actions. So the stories we tell ourselves become our reality. So starting with the right mindset is crucial. Otherwise, our goals in terms of weight loss and health and fitness, we're kind of stuffed. If we don't have the right mindset, we're kind of stuffed. So it's really that's the first part. It's sometimes even the most important part to health success.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Thank you. So what about the failure of traditional, as you say, diets? Delete the word diet. So based on your experience and knowledge, why do most traditional diets and weight loss programs fail to deliver the results in the long term?
Yes, great question. So, well, first of all, as we spoke beforehand, mindset is often not addressed in those traditional diets and programs. Then they are often also not tailored to our unique epigenetic health types. So that goes again with this, there is no one size fits all approach. That doesn't work. We definitely have to include our genetics, our physical conditions, potential injuries and maybe other health conditions, our family commitment, our work commitment, all of that needs to be addressed. So it has to be quite personal. So that is quite important. And then, as also we mentioned beforehand, diets are not really the right approach. They're often too strict. Or when we talk about meal plans, they make people completely dependent I mean, it's easy at the start because it removes thinking,
Mhm.
but nobody really wants to be told what to eat forever, and nobody wants to pay for it. So that is another thing. So these are some reasons, as well as I believe that most programs and diet don't address the root causes of excess weight. Why people start and stop, why do they fall off the wagon, why do they emotional eat or drink. And I believe it's not a food problem as such, it's a lifestyle and a habit problem. It's how we deal with life challenges, with stress, with emotional trauma. That is huge, because if we think about why do people actually overeat, why do they have trouble to stop, or why do they struggle with motivation, there is a little bit behind that. So that's the thing. Yeah.
So what about like I'm going to go back to mindset in a bit, but just before I do that, what about like in this day and age, in this current economic situation where healthy food is so expensive, and a lot of people are struggling? What are some tips that you could offer in terms of like simple ways and cheap ways to be able to eat healthy, rather than, because the bad food is actually cheaper than the good food, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
like you go to a takeaway, you could go to like a Chinese takeaway and get like some veggies and like fried rice or whatever, but it's like, but if you had to make that at home, it would probably cost you way more than what you paid for. So what are your tips in terms of keeping healthy for those who are not earning as much and are struggling to buy decent food?
Okay, so first of all, it's actually also a mindset shift, because being sick is very expensive. So I believe our system, our health system, is not that great, and you have to wait for a long time to get support, get surgery, whatever it is. So being unhealthy is actually way more expensive. So that's the first point. When we do everything to stay healthy, it enables us to work. Like, being self-employed, I see that daily. I have to look after myself. Otherwise, I'm not able to be there for my clients. And if I don't work, I don't earn. So just seeing that from that perspective, really important. The more you work on your health, the healthier you eat, the better you feel, the healthier you will be, and being able to work and earn an income. So that's the first point. Now, the second one, what I can recommend is to grow some fruit and veggies yourself. That is another thing that's relatively inexpensive. If you have a good setup, just growing some tomatoes, for example, at some point they are just crazy expensive. Growing some lettuces. Lettuce is like crazy. It's like, I don't know, $7, $8 sometimes. It's ridiculous.
The days when you could get a head of lettuce for like $1.
Yeah, exactly. And then fruit. Now, I personally have fruit trees in the garden, which I'm super grateful of. The cherries are ripe at the moment, and I have to make sure I get some of them and not just the birds. So having fruit is great. If you live in Christchurch, there's always Red Zone. It's full of fruit, like apples and pears, like crazy. So really, really awesome. Now, also get into a support team. I do know people, they deal with meat, for example. Then I have fruit trees. We always can work in a community. We have food to swap. So I sometimes actually, I had clients who gave me a crayfish. I had clients who gave me some beef, because I don't have that myself, so I have to buy that. And then in reverse, I have a massive feijoa tree, so I'm giving away feijoas or plums. So that's the thing. It's really nice to actually do a little swap here and there, and to support each other. We're not alone in this world. Everyone is struggling with this. And every time I buy fruit, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So, there are ways how we can support each other, and eating seasonal, growing your own. I think, yeah, this is something I can give away as part as advice.
Yeah. Do you think frozen snap-lock frozen veggies are also good?
Good point. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's probably a cheaper way also just stock up on snap-lock, veggies and fruits.
Yes,
I,
correct.
I tend to do smoothies and so on with berries and bananas and yeah. And
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
It's another
exactly.
option. I personally use protein and protein or meal replacements,
Yeah.
and people think they are super expensive, but they're actually not. Like if you compared with a meal, like if I went to whatever Subway, I would pay $15 or $16 for
Absolutely.
for one
Absolutely.
meal. Whereas
Yeah.
if I have a meal replacement shake, that costs me $5. So,
Yeah.
and it's still filling and it has more protein, so it's actually even better. So just to supplement your food, I mean, it would be nice to have a bit of a mix of fresh food, as well as here and there a protein shake or meal replacement is totally fine.
Mm. Okay, cool. Thank you. I tend to put oats in my shakes as well because the oats are a protein and it helps, So going back to mindset, so um, obviously mindset would have been a massive thing for you in your journey. And I'd like to hear a bit about your mindset journey, but also some tips for the audience listening, or the viewers and listeners, as to what tips you can give them in terms of creating a healthy mindset, because it's all about mind, body, soul, right? What can they do from a mindset perspective?
Yes. Something I learned over the last years is to become your biggest supporter and learn self-compassion.
Mm.
And I think that is something that's really, really important to learn, because quite often we are sabotaging ourselves. So there is the self-judgment. We deal with fear of failure. We procrastinate. We're focusing outwards by people pleasing. We try to be perfect, to be, I guess, to be recognized, or to feel more loved and accepted. And all of that is or there are some more like being busy all the time. It's another one. So there are a lot of ways how we self-sabotage our own health, because obviously it can cause a lot of stress, and it can also stop us from making the first step towards a healthier outcome.
Yes.
So that is something I had to learn to, really focus inwards and focus on my own well-being first, and fill up my own cup first, so I can be a better person for others. And it's something I truly live by.
Yeah.
So me focusing on my personal growth, on my mindset, on a supporting, compassionate mindset, has a ripple effect on everyone else. So me, I'm striving to become the healthiest version of myself and most capable version of myself. With that,
Yes.
I'm a lot better person for others to be around, and I
Yeah.
can support
Yeah.
them a lot better. So that's what I live by. And what else can I tell you? So that is the biggest thing, I believe. And to truly talk, to learn to talk nicely to yourself, because your brain is listening all the time. It picks up everything. And here's the thing: when people say, I don't want to be fat, the brain doesn't pick up the negation. So all it hears, I want to be fat, or, don't worry. All it picks up is worry. Don't stress. Same thing, stress. So really changing our language, how we speak to ourselves as well as towards others, can create a huge impact and can
Yeah.
shift our mindset. And
Absolutely.
for me personally, I went so deep down rock bottom. I really appreciate the little things in life now. I have so much gratitude for little things, and I can see a growth opportunity in challenging times. And that is, I think that's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
To know we have the choice to become a victim of our circumstances, which is quite a common thing, or to say, right, this is really, this is really shit at the moment. I can acknowledge myself for what I'm feeling right now, and I go through that those emotions of frustration or despair or whatever it is in that moment. But then after processing and releasing those emotions, I can say, right, okay, cut here. How can I learn from this? How can I rise up again? How can I become a better person? And turn this into a positive.
Yeah. Like I was listening to this morning on a podcast where Rob Dahya was saying that most successful people, people who become successful, fill their cup first in the morning. They put the oxygen mask on. They look after themselves first before, because then you can be better for yourself, for others.
Exactly.
And so that's exactly you're absolutely so right there. Also, in terms of self-talk, it's amazing how the way we talk about ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves, can creates the path of where we end up. Because as your body, your mind, the universe doesn't differentiate. It just, when you ask for something, it just gives it to you. And when you say, like you said, I don't want this, well, you're going to get stuff that you don't want.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah. And for those who are listening, if you haven't seen it or listened to my self-talk episode, feel free to go. I think it's episode 3 or 4. Have a listen to that. Cool. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is building confidence and self-trust. So we talked about like mindset. We've talked about the self-talk. Now, building confidence in yourself and trusting yourself, how do you help your clients build that confidence and the self-trust in their journey to becoming towards their better health? Now, one other thing I want to pick up on is something you said before, is about becoming the better version, to becoming the better person, and so on. I heard something last week where it's more about evolving. And I think that's kind of a cool way of seeing it, is that each day you're evolving.
Yes.
And so tell me a bit more about self-confidence and trust. How do you help your clients with that?
Yes. Just quickly, in terms of better version, what I define under that being a better person is actually a healthier, more capable person. So it's not like being perfect. It's about, like you're saying, growing, evolving, and being more capable. Right. So in terms of self-trust and confidence, now this has to be earned. This is not something that happens automatically. So let's say how I help my clients. So let's say you are my client. So there are quite a few steps to it. So the first thing I would do, I would actually go ahead and discover your health type and get clear on your values and how to follow them daily, because that creates authenticity and strengthens your true identity. So you have some sort of a guide for life to follow. The second part then would be to develop success strategies for sustainable results, not just short-term goals. So to make it sustainable and also enjoyable. We want to, have a lifestyle that's enjoyable and sociable. And then the third one is to start building small habits. And I call it BAM, bare as minimum, to really go with something you can do daily and that is easy to fulfill. Because when we can keep the promise we make to ourselves, that's what builds self-trust. And if you do every single day a small step towards that, you will step by step build your self-trust and your confidence. And obviously, I'm also there to hold hands, to keep you accountable, and I help you to step out of your comfort zone. Again, that again is a requirement for confidence building. So I help you to step out of that comfort zone and overcome challenges and self-doubts. And then lastly, I love teaching about compassion and self-compassion towards your body, towards your emotions, and helping you to break away from old beliefs and patterns that are potentially hurtful and that are sabotaging your well-being and your goals. So that's how I would do it in a nutshell.
That's great. Thank you for that. Awesome. again, so we talked earlier about a little bit about procrastination, and that's a huge thing for a lot of people.
Yes.
And in all areas of their lives, people procrastinate, and as you and I know, that it stems from things like self-doubt and fear and so on. So what advice would you give someone who is constantly procrastinating on making healthy changes in their life?
Yes. So, well, first of all, it might be helpful to ask for support and figure out the reasons for your procrastination to be able to tackle them properly. And as you said, there are a few different reasons. I actually recently did a webinar on it. So it could be fear of failure, it could be fear of judgment, perfectionism, people pleasing, focus on instant gratification, very common. So to discover what is it actually for me, usually it's a combination of different reasons, and then start with that BAM I talked about beforehand. To start now, because life will always be busy. There's never the perfect time to start. People tend to move things out to later, when things are less stressful, when kids are back at school, when Christmas is over, whatever. There's never the perfect time. There will be always something, and we have the opportunity to learn to deal with challenges while striving for our health goal. So I reckon if you start now with a little bare as minimum goal, something you can do daily, I reckon, let's say 15-minute walk. There's something, everyone has 15 minutes a day. In a month from now, you will be so happy, that you've done it. And if you don't, you wish you would have started, because it would have been a lot easier. So it's setting very small goals. That's the first thing.
Or creating micro habits, right?
Yes.
Creating micro habits that lead you towards your goals.
Yeah. Absolutely. Exactly. That's what it is. It could be 5-minute breath work when you feel stressed.
Yeah.
5 minutes. It's nothing, but it helps so much to lower your cortisol levels.
Well, it comes down to really prioritizing yourself, putting yourself first, giving yourself the permission to do that.
Exactly.
Because
I love that.
like you talked about people pleasing, and people often who are people pleasers won't put themselves first before, and so it's your life, it's your body, you're an individual, and it's about putting yourself first above everyone else.
100%. Yes. And I think that's the biggest hurdle. Like you mentioned, people growing up as people pleasers and thinking they are loved only because they do everything for others, and they kind of everything for everyone. And in the end, they are very, very stressed out, and they don't have the energy to look after themselves. But here's the thing, again, you are the best investment, the best project you will ever make or ever work on in your whole life. And the result of that is you becoming that healthiest version of yourself. And as a ripple effect, being a better partner, parent, friend, it's a win-win. Everyone is benefiting from that, because helping others from a place of exhaustion, that doesn't work.
No. And when you're better for yourself, you're better for everyone else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, I truly believe that.
Thank you for that. So starting the journey to improving your health. Now, for someone who's just never done this, or has been sitting back, going, well, one day when this happens, I'll do this. What someone who wants to start their journey for a better health, what are the first steps that you'd recommend?
Okay, yeah, great question. So first of all, I would say ask for support, ask for accountability. Tell someone who keeps you accountable.
Why is it important to have someone accountable?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, when you speak it out, you make it more real. I also suggest you write everything down and have it, pin it on your fridge or on your door, so you can see it every day. So people who write their goals down and tell people have, just trying to remember the number, I think it's over 74% higher chance to achieve actually their goals. So really important to tell someone and to ask for support, someone who's checking in with you. You tell them, I go for a walk 3 times a week, and then that person maybe is checking in, hey, how did that go for you? or maybe that person uses the other one as a sounding board. I actually have clients who do that. They text me every day what they've done. So that's really great. First point. And then be clear on your goal. So set a positive goal. Instead of saying, you know, I don't want to be fat or whatever it is. That's how it sounds really harsh, but you know, that's how people speak about themselves. Instead of saying that, they could say, I would like to reach 70 kilos, have my energy and be able to walk for an hour by such and such time. So that would be quite specific and stated in the positive, because again, the brain is listening. So set the clear, positive, specific goal is the second step. And then the third one is really important. Know your why. Why is this so important? Because if the why is big enough, it will take care of the how.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then start with one small step, ideally daily. I'm a big fan of daily steps. So, you know, carving out that 15 to 20 minutes a day. And that could be one day a walk, one day maybe a little gym session, one day a stretching session. But do something for yourself as an act of self-care, because that's what it is, for 15 minutes. So, yeah, that's my advice.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So, okay, next question I have is around nutrition and naturopathy role in fitness. So how has your background in nutrition and naturopathy, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but influenced your approach to physical health and fitness coaching?
Yeah, thank you. That is huge. Obviously, I learned a lot from my own journey, and I did a few courses on that. So it's a huge role. So I could probably talk about this all day again, but let's pick the major things. So let's talk briefly about gut health, detox, and hormonal health, because those are some major obstacles for people's health and weight loss journeys. So first of all, gut health. You know, if we eat crappy food, we breed crappy gut bacteria, which causes crappy mood, because serotonin is built in the gut. And that obviously can cause a lot of sickness, low energy, and also food cravings, because the crappy gut bacteria is craving sugary stuff. So sometimes those sugar cravings are because of our habits, you know, eating a lot of sugary stuff, or eating unhealthy processed food. So the more we do that, the more cravings we have. That's normal. So that's the first thing in terms of gut health. And just a note on that, you know, our gut health is our immune system. So if our gut is not right, our immunity is not right, and as I said beforehand, our mood is lowered. So that's also where depression has its place. It's connected. The second thing with hormones, that is a huge thing as well, because most people are super busy, super stressed out. And either they are, you know, people are busy overdoing things, and in the gym, I even see over exercising. And, you know, that was me in the past as well. I was the absolute over exerciser, killing it in the gym. So overdoing is one way of stressing our body. But also, you know, some people might not be training or working, but they are super stressed in their minds. They are overthinking. So that is internal stress. So it could be, you know, mental stress with overthinking, depression, what else? You know, challenges in general, all of that. It could be physical, because of over-exercising, overdoing, overworking, toxins. So all of those. And it could be emotional stress, and that could be trauma, like public shaming, which is super common, is almost normalized in our society. Bullying, abuse, told you're not good enough, told you're not pretty enough, not smart enough. Again, it's another very common thing, but that is actually already emotional trauma. So all of that creates stress, okay? And that will raise cortisol levels. And constant high cortisol levels raise tummy fat. So with that, there's no weight loss. So when people are sort of, doing to be away from the fridge, they might actually sabotaging their weight loss goals. So that is about hormones. And then lastly, toxins. I mentioned that beforehand. Toxins are stored in the body fat. So in order to lose body fat, we need to do a detox.
Mm.
And
Is that
now
like
people
fasting? And
yeah, supported
that helps?
fasting ideally, because we actually need vitamins and minerals for detox processes.
Right.
But there are different ways of fasting. Yes, fasting is incredibly healthy if done correctly, and if any eating disorders are worked on beforehand. So that's really important to do, as well as with a professional. So I'm a big believer in different kinds of fasting and detox. Now, people might be asking, the body naturally detoxes, and where do the toxins come from? I believe there are more and more toxins in today's world. So toxins through air pollution, toxins through food additives, pesticides, body products, makeup, all those kind of things. There's a lot of more and more toxins coming in, and some things, something that I get really upset about is the amounts of Roundup, for example, glyphosate, people are using to spray their gardens. There they are, some even growing their own vegetables and then next to it spraying glyphosate, and I'm like, oh my god, because that stuff is cancer causing. That stuff
Killing
is
themselves in the process.
killing himself, exactly. And so that's such a common thing in New Zealand, unfortunately. And this company paid billions and billions for people who develop cancer, but they're still in the shops. They're still sitting in the shelves, and I just can't believe it. So anyway, so those three parts, I believe, are quite important to address. Yeah.
Okay. So your life coaching and its impact, like, can you talk a bit about how life coaching complements your work, in the physical health and fitness, especially for clients dealing with trauma, mental health challenges?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, everyone has trauma, even though people sometimes are not aware of it. And obviously, there are a lot of people with depression as well. And then it's often people's emotional health and their mindset that's holding them back from making a start or being consistent. So I believe working with the mindset is actually one of the most important parts to any fitness success, health success, or weight loss success, or anything in life, really. Let's be honest. The mindset part is huge. And what I really like about life coaching is that it really complements my work as a physiotherapist, as a massage therapist, as a personal trainer. Because life coaching creates something that's called inter or independency. So let me give you a bit of an example. So when I say personal training, which is really, really important to help people, knowing what exercises to do and to make sure they do it correctly, that they don't injure themselves, and that they have progress and progress in their program. So very, very important. But here's the thing. People are very dependent on me for being their motivator and telling them what to do. So they don't have to think, they just do. And they show up because they pay me, because they need that external motivation. So why it is important to know what to do and how to progress your programs. When you combine that with life coaching, I find that's brilliant, because you not only learn what to do and how to do it correctly, but also you learn to be empowered, self-empowered, and motivated by your own values and your purpose. So I find that's huge. It's a great combination.
That's great. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Okay, so a key takeaway from like sustainable health. Well, what is the most important piece of advice you would give someone who's seeking like sustainable weight loss, and overall improved health?
Okay. What I said beforehand already a few times, I think this is huge and it's worth to repeat that, is to, first of all, invest in your own health and your own growth. And that can be mentally, emotionally, and physically. And don't just go for the most convenient, easiest, cheapest thing like a meal plan, something that creates dependency. So, have awareness that this is not just a physical journey. It's a full holistic approach of seeing the whole human. And I can highly recommend to make your health the biggest priority. And again, you becoming the healthiest, more capable version of yourself will help you to live your life to the fullest, but also and being able to overcome life challenges, as well as being there for your loved ones. So that is the biggest thing. And really integrate your goals into your lifestyle, into your family life, into your work commitment, because that's the only way to make it worth to make it.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Thank you for that. All righty, we're coming towards the end of this podcast, but we've got 5 questions for you, kind of quick fire questions that I ask at the end. And then what we'll do is also just give the audience, the viewers and listeners, a little bit more information about how they can get in touch with you. So the first question I have for you is, what is one message you would like to share with the world?
What I just said beforehand.
All of the above.
All of the above, yes. So very short and sharp. The best work, project, investment you can ever do and you can ever work on in life is yourself. So face yourself and grow into the healthiest, most capable version of yourself. That's my message.
Yeah, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and face yourself. Yeah.
Start with yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Question 2. How do you define success? And has that definition changed for you over time?
I like that question. Yes, it actually has. So my old belief, my old definition of success was that you had to be busy, you had to have money, and you had to be liked. You needed to be liked. Now this has changed. So my new belief is different. So first of all, yes, money is great for choice. And I love the fact that money allows you to experience and to contribute to the world. So that is really great. But I don't think that busy is a way of success. Actually, quite often the opposite. Because we can be busy and not productive at all. So I believe success also means stop being busy and learn to actively rest and unplug. And regarding being liked, the right people can like me. The others don't have to. That's fine. I can handle that. And, ultimately success to me is about following your soul purpose. And it's about what you can give to yourself and others, and learning compassionately, learn to take care of your mind, take care of your body, and grow into this true, authentic, compassionate self. So that is success for me ultimately, and that's a life journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. All right. Who has been the greatest inspiration for you and why?
Okay, I'll probably have to go with more than one person.
Sure.
So definitely Remy Sharon Pearson and Matt Lavas. I'm truly grateful for those two people. I learned a lot from them, because obviously they are in the coaching institute. So that's where I learned life coaching from mostly. And interesting enough, Matt Lavas, I saw him on an advertisement on Facebook, and it just blew me away because what he said truly resonated with me. It was like he was speaking from my heart. That was the first time after being so unwell, first time I felt understood. So really, really awesome. And I love working with him. Another person I admire is Dr. Gawamati, because he is he is just incredible. Like his knowledge is amazing, and he is a gift to this world. Like this person is saving lives. Like anyone who has some physical illness, some chronic sickness, I can highly recommend to follow this guy because he can learn a lot. And yeah, so those are my three people.
Right. So you've covered people from a coaching perspective. You've covered someone from a trauma and you know, that kind of perspective. From a fitness perspective and well-being perspective, who has been from the time from 17 onwards, who has been that constant inspiration for you?
That is a good question. Let me think about that. I'm just trying to, actually, one of my, my first role model was my boss and my teacher when I started working in the fitness industry, like when I became a group fitness instructor. So I was absolutely admiring my teacher, who was someone who danced at the TV ballet in Berlin. And she taught me a lot. She taught me all those classes I was teaching and enjoying, and to, you know, she helped me to step out of my comfort zone. She literally threw me into cold water to teach in front of 30 people. But she actually laid the path towards my health journey, towards my profession and my passion. So I'm truly grateful for her.
That's awesome. All right. Two more questions. What is something you believe that others may disagree with?
I'm not sure if they disagree with it, but I believe many people are not aware that a health and weight loss journey is truly a mindset, healing, and self-care journey. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, last question. If you could go back to your younger self and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would tell her to stand up and express myself and know that I'm enough and loved.
Absolutely. Because you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. Yeah, you bring an amazing energy, and I'll tell you what, this whole podcast has been brilliant, and I'd love for you to come back and you said you could talk for days or hours. Well, I'd love to explore. Maybe what we can do is maybe pick up some topics and speak specifically about those, because we've covered quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. So people listening to this or watching this podcast will be interested in what you've had to say, and they'll be inspired by this, or it's been given them a kick up the backside in some shape or form. How would they go about getting in touch with you and learning more about yourself and what you do and how you can help?
Yes, so people can find me on Facebook under Verena Gutsche, and I do have a group as well, which they can find on my Facebook banner. They can just click on that banner, and then they can request to join my group, which is called Happy and Healthy Starts Here. And that's where I share a little bit more insights about nutrition, recipes, stress management, hormonal health, all those kind of things. So I'm more than happy to to accept more people into that group. And of course, people can also direct message me if they like a bit more personal support.
Sure, sounds good. Awesome. That's thank you, Verena. It's been a amazing time chatting with you. And what I will do is add some links in the description of this podcast so that people can click on it and go to your Facebook page and so on. So yeah. So what is one thing you're going to do today for yourself to really, prioritize yourself? And so what's one amazing thing you're going to do for yourself today?
Okay, so I started already with my morning run and my grounding. That's my routine. So that was the first setup. And what I will do later on is definitely some stretching and some breath work. And maybe even going for a little walk on the beach. I love walking barefoot in the sand. So yeah, that's my plan for tonight after work.
Yeah, seeing your photos of where you live and so on is really amazing. I mean, I live by the ocean as well, and yeah, it's like I must come and visit because you're in Nelson, right?
No, Christchurch.
Christchurch. Oh, you're in Christchurch, right?
Beautiful
So
Long Beach. You're more than welcome.
so
We have everything in Christchurch.
nice.
We have
Might have
the
to,
Long Beach. We have the hills. It's really
might have
nice.
to make a trip down to Christchurch sometime. But yeah, I mean, I live in the Whangapara Peninsula up here in Auckland,
Oh, beautiful.
and surrounded by 22 bays and beaches, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds
So
amazing.
yeah. So thank you very much for coming and
Thank you.
speaking with me and having this chat and really sharing with the audience. And like always, if you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, please hit the follow button, and also feel free to share this podcast with your friends and family and workmates, anyone who may benefit from it. And the more we can get this out there, the more we can change people's lives. So I really thank you for listening to this podcast, and keep championing your life towards a better you, and keep evolving. Don't stay stagnant. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep your brain healthy. Keep your body healthy, and keep your soul healthy as well. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you Verena for being here today.
Thank you so much, Anthony. It was a pleasure.